Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor for me to attend this Congress and a privilege to share the findings from a study we did in Burkina Faso last year to evaluate the regulatory framework in relation with the research and the deployment of gen drive technology. I start, oh, it doesn't move. Yeah, I start my presentation with two positions or statements. One position from African Union and following the recommendation of a high-level EU panel on emerging technology, who provide an interesting report which have been updated, and the second version has been launched this year. I don't know if you already hear about this report from the high-level panel community from African Union. Who did already read this report in this room? Please raise your hand. So, few persons in this room already read this interesting report. That means that there is an effort of dissemination to be done at all levels, because this is something really interesting to read, and it's a kind of political engagement from the head of state in Africa. So the high-level EU panel APET recommend to invest in the development and regulation of gender technology. Those greatest and most urgent application will be in malaria control and elimination in an integrated approach. So following this report, the head of state for African countries has taken the decision to encourage the member states to harness emerging technology, including gen drive, in the development initiative. So this is really important to know. But the development of such technology is not done by random. It has been committed. It has been done through recommendation from our member states, African leader. The second statement came from a reliable global organization, the World Health Organization, which in October 22 recognized the urgent need for new tools to combat vector-borne disease, because it has been shown in a previous presentation that there is a limitation of traditional tools to combat malaria, because of since 2015 we observe a plateau in terms of trends in malaria incidence and mortality, and will support the investigation of all potentially beneficial technology, including GM mosquitoes. And at the last, we recommend that the GM mosquito research should be conducted through a stepwise approach and supported by clear governance mechanisms to evaluate any health, environmental, and ecological implication with robust and meaningful engagement of the community. So this is the statement of World Health Organization. Now, the research is active in Africa. We have African scientists who are working hardly in African country, in the lab in Africa, to develop new technology, which offer extraordinary potential to combat vector-borne disease, and which need also to be regulated. The role of the regulation is to protect human and animal health, to protect environment, to establish confidence, credibility from users and beneficiaries, and to respect the ethical consideration. Research in an environment without regulation is not ethically acceptable. So there is a need to strengthen the regulation, to have a strong regulation in our countries in order to establish great confidence between the citizen and its leaders. The regulation of genetically modified mosquito to combat vector-borne disease could be transversal and may involve several sectors, several regulators. Regulators for biosafety, because of the GMO nature of gene drive, regulation from the environment, from health, and a great component for ethics community. The question we will have to ask, is the regulatory framework ready to address any regulatory concern and ethical consideration relating to the research and development of the gene drive technology? So we did a study last year in Burkina Faso to review the existing health regulation and guidelines relating to the conduct of clinical trials for gene drive mosquito technology, and conduct also a capacity assessment, a need assessment for the regulatory assessment for clinical trial dossier and clinical trial monitoring, inspection, and implementation of good clinical practice. The same thing has been done at the biosafety and environmental level, and at the end, we were able to develop a roadmap for the implementation of findings and recommendation. In terms of method, we had 3 strong components for the study. We did a desk review by convening a meeting with experts from biosafety, health regulation, environment, ethics. We were able to brainstorm and have a list of the different documents used at the different level of regulation for in-depth analysis in relation with the research and the development of the gene drive technology. We visit the site, the different entomological platforms in Burkina Faso, and we had an in-depth interview with various stakeholders involved in the regulation, in the development, in the research of this technology. So what are the findings we have from the desk review? In terms of a global funding, many documents have been reviewed by different experts from health, biosafety, environment, and we note that there are many reference documents to address ethical regulatory concern at the health level regarding the clinical trial, for biosafety at the National Biosafety Agency, and in Environmental and Agriculture Department. So for biosafety, we notice that in Burkina Faso there is an existence of functional National Biosafety Agency. We have a biosafety law and protocol guideline for GMO management, but some gaps have been identified, or some tests have to be rewarded. By example, we don't have a officially adopted guideline on environmental risk assessment for next phase of GM development and deployment, and this needs to be addressed. The second question, we identify how to monitor the GM mosquito after they have been released in the environment. So the post-monitoring surveillance also need to be developed as a guideline, and also to take account relevant information on mosquito dispersion, capacity, and gene persistence across mosquito generation and in the environment. What we notice also for the Biosafety Agency, the previous, for many years, they did a lot of work on dossiers which were more focused on agriculture, product from agriculture. And now we are dealing with a new product, a new GMO product, which may be persistent and dispersible in the environment, which need also to be taken into account to adapt the existing guideline. In terms of public engagement, public consultation, there is some insufficiency noticed by this evaluation. 5 minutes. Okay. Also, we noticed that the transbordering issue need also to be managed through sub-regional, continental, and international approaches. We didn't have in Burkina Faso a national biosafety strategy document, which is an important document who maybe will enhance the country involvement in the regulation and in the development of GMO product. When we come to the health sectors, we notice that there is no update on the health law since 1996. That means that there are a lot of things, lot of innovation, lot of health tech, lot of product not taken into account in this health law. And there is no reference to GMO product in the law or reference document used by health regulatory authority. So if you come at the health regulatory authority to do a kind of clinical trial with GMO product, there is no specific document related to this activity at health regulatory authorities. This is an example of a health law from developing country when you see clearly an alignment between the health law, the biosafety law, and the environmental law. And in the health law, all information relating to GMO, you have to be referred to the environmental or biosafety law for guidance. Still, at the health component in the country, the ethical code in biomedical research also needs to be developed for the country. We have the absence of interoperability between the ethics committee. We have several ethics committees in Burkina Faso at the institutional level and at the national level. And only the approval from the national level is valid. If you use the approval from the institutional level, it seems to be valid only at the institutional level, but not at the national level. With written informed consent for clinical trial, we need to have a written informed consent for individual participants. But for how this can be effective for investigational product like GenDry, which will potentially target the whole country. So there is a need for brainstorming to see the best way to not delay the development of the technology. The efficacy study using the GMO. This is also a challenge and need to be put on the table to discuss with various experts in collaboration with different agencies in order for mutual agreement in the study design as shown by Jonathan yesterday, and to know which kind of clinical trial we have to do with this type of product. It's new, it's not a medicine, it's not a vaccine. What to do to comply with the different regulatory in the country. For the in-depth interview, I will move quickly. We did the interview with 25 respondents coming from Decision Maker Regulators Ethics Committee, Research Institute, and what we had in terms of findings is a poor understanding of the technology among the stakeholders, especially those coming from health sectors. Health sector seems to not be really informed about this technology. The insufficiency of knowledge on World Health Statement and the EU position on research on innovative technology. As I said in my 2 slides, the 2 positions are important to have the leaders, the political person to be engaged. There are some concerns identified about impact on biodiversity, the fear of unknown, the negative impact on biodiversity, how to make the release reversible in case of worsening situation, how to manage unanticipated adverse event or non-compliance event. And I think the study on ecological modalities of the GenDry technology currently undergoing in Ghana maybe will be very useful to answer some kind of question. with other things important, there is no formal interaction between the regulatory agencies. We have a technology which may be addressed by several agencies, but on the ground, there is no formal interaction between health sectors, biosafety, and environmental agencies. There is an insufficient knowledge about the GM mosquito as a potential vector control tools by health regulator, decision policy maker. And finally, we notice several barriers against the development of the technology. In terms of systematic rejection, when we talk about GMO, there is a systematic rejection, fake news, the lack of knowledge of this technology by the decision maker, policy maker. In terms of solution and recommendation, we need, if we want to go ahead to succeed with this technology, a strong political will. It's crucial and will improve the confidence between the citizen and the leader. Improve the knowledge of policymaker, decision maker on gender technology. Adapt or update the existing guidelines, the law to include innovative technology and also to consider the persistent and dispensable nature of the GEMA. We need also to highlight the inter-collaboration synergy between regulatory agencies and to align the different tests. We need to build the capacity of the regulator. The turnover is really hard in the regulatory agency. So there is a need to still continue to build capacity and better domesticate the existing international guideline. Develop a good communication strategy. Enhance public awareness, strengthen inter-regulatory agency collaboration, and enhance the activities of the IVM platform at national, regional level. I close my presentation with the dissemination meeting we had last year in Ouagadougou to present the findings from this study, where parliamentarians take part. General Secretary of the Minister of Health, Minister of Environment, and Minister of Agriculture also take part of this finding. And I can say now that we are moving to update the law for the health law. The ethics law also is under review, and we hope in the future we will have an ethical law in Burkina Faso and an updated health law. Thank you very much for your attention.